Hello, 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 everybody. On this wonderful, beautiful Monday, I'm coming to you. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Mary D. Welch, and I am the host of the Mary D. Talk Show. And I don't know why, but there's something going on with my computer. But you know what? I have learned that's life. That's life. So I'm just going to leave it just the way it is. I'm not going to touch anything because once I touch something, it did something else. But anyway. But I just want to welcome you to the Mary D Talk Show today. I know today, well, before I even go, I almost skipped over. I gotta say something to hold on to our sponsors for the show because we have sponsors that you see that scrolling across the bottom, and I always have to thank them. I like to thank you, the Idea Club with Dumas Martin Jr., who is the president of the Idea Club. I like to thank First Book Academy, Front Page Publishing. Um, I like to thank the Henderson Real Estate team. I like to thank, these are the sponsors. I like to thank IEHP. I like to thank all of you for the show. Some of you may wonder what happened to the link that was going out today. I know. What can I say? It happens that the link didn't go out today, but it will be out next week. So we just had these little, what can I say, little glitches. But don't worry, we'll be back again next week when everything will be all perfect. And Levon, oh, okay. Oh, you can hear me fine. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad you can hear me fine. I'd rather hear that than you can't hear me at all. That's really what I like to hear is that yeah, we can hear you. So I'm not going to touch anything because I'm looking at it. I said I touched something before and I disappeared off the screen, and then that was it. Today, this is different. This is part two of writing your book. Oh, I almost forgot. I went down the list, but I forgot to thank our executive producer, Oliver Welch. He is my husband, and he is the one that you never see. He was just here in the studio. You just missed him. But without his support and everything, I just can't begin to tell you. That's why the show goes on. He always critiques and lets me know how the show went and how he feels about it. So, hi, babe. He's back. He's in the background. But believe me, he's always a part of the show. You guys just kind of can't really tell it, but I promise you he is. Okay, just want everybody to know that. Also, a sponsor for the show also is IEHP. Um, it's Inland Empire Health. They are a part. They're also a sponsor for today's show. I want to make sure I get that in. I also want to thank, as many of you know, here we go. This always important to me because this is one of our authors. always want to bring her book. Hi, Lang. Hi, Lang. Just me and Elaine were just in a meeting like 5 minutes ago. But this book is for Dr. Mildred Dalton Hampton Henry. This is her book. I always want to show this to all of you because, and she will even say that she had been writing her book for 15 years. And I totally get that. I know some of you think, how can you be writing a book for 15 years? Easily, because you're writing it. It's hard to figure out where to start and where to end and all those kind of things. But when someone else puts eyes to what you're writing, it's amazing how we can see it. It is truly amazing. We can look at something and and all of a sudden the pieces fit. So this is her wonderful, wonderful book. I would encourage each of you to get one. It is really, it's really our history. It's what it is of the United States. We may not always say that, but that's what this is. This is our history. And as I always try to show you, there's pictures. What I love about her book, we talked about it. How she has her awards in the back, which I was very when she told me at first. And this is, and she even admits this is not even a full list. There's so many awards and accolades, and this is not even a full list. But I definitely wanted her to write this book because it's a legacy. It's a legacy. There for all of us will come a time when this is what I always tell people why it's so important to write our books. They're going to outlive us. They're going to live, they'll be here when we're no longer here. They speak for us. So I would encourage you, if you've ever thought about, if the thought ever crossed your mind that to write a book, that's what we're going to talk about today. Because we make writing a book a daunting, this big gigantic thing, and it doesn't have to be that. But we make it something that's like it's unattainable. It doesn't have to be that either. So I know. Let me go over some of the other ones. I just wanted to bring some to you, as I often do, and that is um, this book. Which one? I have some more other books here. This is from another one of our authors, Fayette Foster. This is her book, Why is Little Faith So Happy? And all of these books are right there on Amazon. So it's not like you can go right there. They can be at your house tomorrow. That's how quick. Ladies and gentlemen, I've ordered a book on Amazon before 11 o'clock, and before 10 o'clock the next day, it was at our door. That's how good Amazon is. It's just phenomenal. I'm just amazed. This is to date, this is my bestseller, still is the bestseller. Um, Even now, is Saying No Nicely. And then the subtitle is How to Set Boundaries and Avoid Burnout Without Feeling Guilty. Think about this: how to set boundaries and avoid burnout without feeling guilty. Because for many of us, we do feel guilty if we say no. Don't we feel? I mean, I'm going to speak for women. Men, not so much to me. I think men have an easier time saying no than women do. That's my opinion. That's just what I think. I just think we do. I think women struggle with that. We struggle with saying no. I had to learn how to say no. But the key is not just saying no, it's saying no nicely. That's what and I'll even talk about more about this book and the other ones as we go on today about what is writing books. Here's another favorite. Have you seen The Red Elephant? Da-da, da-da. This one, this past weekend, I was actually honored to be a speaker at the Tamale Festival, and I read the books to the kids, and they were just like, wow. So anyway, then this is the newest one, Justin Lost a Tooth. And Justin is one of our youngest sons. It just talks about him losing a tooth in the classroom. Now, what I want to talk to you about, ladies and gentlemen, because this is what I think about writing. Number one, just for many of you that don't know my, okay, it is. I like that. Thank you. It is. I think we struggle with that saying no stuff. You know why we say yes? Because we don't want to be called the B word. So we say yes when we want to say no. But I've learned, it took me years to learn this. I'm talking about years to learn it. It is, not only is no a complete sentence, it is okay to say no. I think we have made this some gigantic thing, but it really isn't. It is okay. It is okay to say the word no. I know we don't think it is. And hi, Sheila. How are you? So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. It is okay to say no. I think that's like a revelation to even hear that, because we think if we say no, how many times have you said to someone, or someone may have said it to you, why didn't you just say no? Have you ever? I've heard that before. Why didn't you just say no? And I thought it's been said to me. Thank God it hasn't been said that much, but it has been said to me. So now I lean into no more now than I ever have. And it took me a long time to get here. A long time to get here. But now that I'm here, I've learned it is okay. It is not a bad thing. It is not a negative. The world is still turning on its axis, but you have to say no. You can't say yes to everything anyway. That it's impossible, just so you know. And I'm saying that you're talking to someone who has tried, I think. I know I did. And I remember, I'll tell you a real quick story. I had four things. Think about this. Four different functions going on the same day at the same time. This is when I knew I had a problem saying no. I said yes to all four. Think about what I'm saying here. Four functions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four on the same day at the same time. It is virtually impossible to do that. Virtually impossible. But I didn't know how to say no. So what I did is I came home, I took a shower, and I went and got into bed. I didn't go to any of it. I didn't go to anything. That's how my life was so out of control. I didn't even understand that it was out of control. But I came to terms with it was out of control because I didn't know how to say no to any of them. and I should have. But I from that point on, I think I started coming to terms with saying no. That it was okay to say no. Oh, you said good for you, Mary. I'm inspired by. Oh, I put the comments up. You guys can read. I'm reading them, and you guys don't even get a chance to see them. I'm inspired by you. I'm getting there. Still, and I don't. No, 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 no. I'm still working on me. Don't ever think that. Don't ever think that. You have all of you already know this. I don't have to even tell you. Life is a one day at a time journey. It really, really is. And so every day you just try and get better and better. So I've definitely gotten better with saying no, thank you. I appreciate the invitation. I know how to say that. Um, and I mean it like that. Like I have to commit to an event. Just this Sunday, I committed to one event. I can't commit to all of the events. There's like 3 things going on this Sunday afternoon. So I committed to one. The other ones, I just nicely say, oh, thank you for the invitation. No, I can't attend that. That's the truth. That's it. I think, and what it does for me, it frees me. It just takes the stress and anxiety off me because I can't go to it. It's okay. It's okay. So I would tell you all. And this was one when Sheila said, hi. Hi, Sheila. Said, I'm going back. And Lavon said, yes, you agree. It's difficult for women to say no. It is. And I definitely want to get Elaine's comment. I'm telling you, meeting Elaine was just in a meeting, right? We just came straight from a meeting straight over here. So I tell you, this Zoom, it has changed. It's changed the game. And you said, oh, okay. All right. It's trending. I can hear you just fine. All right. It's always good to see you. I'm telling you, ladies, gentlemen, learn to say no. I'm telling you what I know. You're talking to somebody. The first time I learned to say no, this is the truth. I said, oh my God, the earth is still turning on its axis. I actually said this. I learned to say no. That was pivotal for my life. Even now, between the things me and my husband, we have, if we're not going, well, really, I would say it's really me going. Thank God he goes with me, all these things, but I have to learn how to pull back. And plus, another thing I've learned too, as you get older, it gets a little harder to go to things. Not that you don't want to go, it takes a lot more energy. That's what I've learned from me. I speak for me. It takes more energy. But I still tend to go as much as I can, as much as I'm able. I will say that. I do try and still attend things as much as we can. And let me throw this, and I didn't put the flyer up, but I will probably next week. And that is for those of you that I'm going to put a commercial in here for NCNW. The Riverside Section National Council of Negro Women is having its first ever Juneteenth celebration and community awards gala. It's on June 17th this year. The next, 6 weeks away, something like that, at Riverside Convention Center. And right now, you have to go to the Facebook page. If you go to the Facebook page and you go to Riverside Section NCNW, you can leave a message for the president. And I'm the past president. I'm no longer the president, but that's fine. This is how I look at it. I'm always recruiting, always bringing people into the section. Doesn't matter that I'm not the president at this time. I will always be supportive of the Riverside Section, National Council of Negro Women. For those of you that don't know what NCNW is, it's the National Council of Negro Women. So let me put that commercial in here for the National Council of Negro Women. So now, back to the subject at hand, writing a book. What I just showed you early on were books that people have written, including myself. And what does it take to do that? Because I think, and I've said this many, many times, because one, I've said to write it down. I think I've said that, I've made that a mantra. But I didn't show you this. I'm going to show this to you. You can write it down. Hold on. This is where I write things down too. Maybe you have a Google, if you have Google Keep in your phone, if you have Google Docs in your phone, either of those apps, or in your if you're a Gmail, have a Gmail account, or you can also put it in a Word document, or you can also email it to yourself. I used to do that all the time. I would email things to myself. That's another thing you can do. And I'm saying that because sometimes we think you have to make a big deal out of writing things down. Let me just tell you how I know you don't have to make a big deal out of it. I came back from Maryland a week ago. So I was on the East Coast, and the family in front of me had a 6-month-old baby. So here it is, a little girl who's with them. She's about 5. Their daughter is 5, and their other daughter is 6 months. And they're sitting in front of me, and I'm already going, this is not going to be good. I didn't say it to them, but I said it to me. And I thought, and I was right. The baby literally, and I'm not kidding, screamed, not cried, screamed from Maryland. Where did we land? Where did we land? Was it Houston? And I don't mean, whimpered. I mean screamed at the top of their lungs because we were so high, the pressure bothered their ears. It was nothing anybody could do. While on the plane, I sat there and I wrote a book. Think about this. The baby is screaming, and I wrote a book about a baby screaming. A baby scream. I sat there. I was sitting in the seat, listening to the baby scream. That sounds crazy. It's true. I wrote the book, and I'm sitting here going, wow, how can this be a book about a baby screaming? But I wrote it. Now, is that a normal idea for a book, a baby screaming? No. But is that something, at that point in time, I'm dealing with it. I don't have a choice. I mean, I didn't have headphones to put in, none of that. I didn't have anything to do. There was nothing I could do but hear the baby. There was nothing to do. In fact, me and the entire plane, there was nothing else we could do. And the mom was walking the baby. She was doing everything she could do. The baby's ears, even the stewardess came over and she said, she even told her, there's nothing you're going to be able to do because the altitude that we are flying at is why your child's ears are, it's causing problems with their ears. And she said, I've been through this more times. She was very, which I already knew that was the case anyway. But I say that, and you said, what was that? Wow. I know. You said it's amazing. I can even think to do that. I will tell you, this is what I think about that. I sat there and I said, you don't really have too many choices here. I'm on the plane. It wasn't like I could get off the plane. And I think all of us felt that way. And honestly, I wrote the story based on the fact, what does that mother feel like? What does the mother, the father, they were all sitting in front of me. So I'm sitting here. I was in the at the window seat because I like the window. But I felt sorry for them. I did. Because what could they do? All they could do, the father carried the baby screaming. The mother carried the baby screaming. Everybody, there was no stopping that baby from screaming. They tried to pacify. They tried the bottle. They tried, you name it, they tried it. Nothing. And at the same time, I said, okay, you have a choice here. What are you going to do? And I just took out I always have, I'll tell you truthfully, I have a pen and paper wherever I go. When I go to church, this is the truth. I have a pen and paper with me in church because ideas are in the air. They're in the air. That was like I said, the idea. I don't have a name for that story, but all I have is a story. Okay, I'm saying, Elaine said, so it took me a long time to say no to overbooking. See, Mary, we both have a servant's heart, so we thought we have to be everything to everyone. We don't, and it's okay. Thank you for your book. Oh, you're welcome, Elaine. And I tell you, that book. The book is really about me. I'm gonna be honest and tell you guys about that. That book, this is a good example. And I tell anybody, write what you know. Write what you know. If you learn one thing from me, you learn this. That's what this is. This is not even 40 pages, 38 pages. The initially started out with 78, I believe. It was almost 80 when I initially started this book. And by the time, as they say, I got the fat out of what really, really mattered and really made this. You can read this in 30 minutes. Seriously, I know you can. It's that short. But right now, if you look online, you'll see the stars that they've given it because people have used. It's something you can use. You can actually read this and use it. Not you're going to read it and throw it away or something like that. I know you're going to use it because I know people have sent me messages and said, I've used it and it works. It works, especially on the job. I mean, I have how to say no to your boss, how to say no to your significant other, how to say no to your children. Think about that. It's all in the book. In the book. And I'll read you some of it. I think I've gone over it before, but I'm more concerned about you writing your book than I am. As I was mentioning, the one about this was only not even 2 weeks ago, about a week ago. Yeah, I came back about a week ago. So a week yesterday, it was on a Sunday, and when I thought about it, when the plane landed and I looked at the story, I was laughing to myself. I said, "So you took what could have been a negative situation, and you oh, you're welcome, Dr. Vivian. It was nice seeing you too. I haven't seen you for a while. It's nice seeing you. I saw Vivian on Saturday. It's always nice. Hi, Trish. You got your copy too, Trish? Trish says she has her copy. I tell you. Well, I would tell you, ladies, gentlemen, whatever it is that you want to write, this is what I think, personally. There are stories, they're literally floating around you. I'm gonna use the baby crying on the plane. Think about it. A baby crying on a plane. That's the name of the story. Think about that. And when you look up and you see it as one of my children's books, you're gonna be like, I cannot believe she wrote that and made it a children's book. It's true. Because I'm telling you, ladies, gentlemen, the stories, they literally are floating. The only difference between you and me is I take out a pen, and when I call it umptions. That's what they are, umptions. And they're really, in my opinion, is God. That's what I think. I think personally, I think it's God umptioning you to write it down. Because if you say to yourself, how many people don't say, oh, I'm going to remember that. Oh, I'm never going to forget that. Oh, you might as well forget it. It's gone. Whenever I think about it, I've never once said that and remembered that story. Not one time. I know better now. If there's something that comes to my mind, I put it in my Google Keep, or I put it in the Google Docs, or I email it to myself, or I text it to myself. Something I'm going to put down, but I'm not going to think I'm going to remember it. I don't even try. Those days are over. You have to write it down, because this is what I think. If you don't write it down, God's going to give it to somebody else that will. I don't know this to be true. Let me say that now. The plane had over 100 people on it, because I remember hearing the stewardess say we were getting ready to board. There was 100 and something people on the plane. I can almost guarantee I probably was the only one that wrote a story that day about crying. She wasn't crying. She was yelling. I should say the yelling baby or the screaming baby. I don't know. But I'm saying that to say we were in the same plane. Now, maybe somebody else did write the story. If they did, I mean, they could have, but I kind of doubt it. I don't know, but we can see. It says airplane saga. Thank you, Elaine. I experienced this with Jennifer. Oh, did you really? See? I guarantee those parents were distraught for their child, but they thought about the passengers too. I certainly did. And they did. I'm going to tell you, I could see it on their face. That lady was she didn't know what to do. What do you do? I'm telling you, that baby was not crying. That baby was the top of the lungs. You know how they did that long, where there's no tears. She was just in pain. That's all it was. She was in pain. She was quiet all the way up until we leveled off. That screaming started. Yeah, she just went at it. And I remember thinking, I felt for all of them. Because the father didn't know what to do, the daughter didn't know what to do, the mother didn't know what to do, and the baby couldn't do anything. She was in pain. So but from that, I just wrote I put the yelling baby on the plane or something like that. But we were in the airport. This was a couple of years ago. Oliver and I were in the airport, and I thought Oliver said, I thought he said something, but he didn't. But he said something, and out of what he said, I thought he said there's pigs in the airport. That's what I thought he said. That's not what he said. I thought that's what he said. I wrote the book that there's pigs in the airport. I know. You guys haven't seen those yet. So I'm saying that to say, ladies, gentlemen, that's twice something to do with the airport. We were where we were coming back from Miami, and I thought he said something about pigs in the airport. And I remember thinking pigs in the airport, and I said, "Oh, why are you saying pigs in the airport?" He said, "I didn't say that." But right then and there, we were in line. I stopped. I took out my phone and I put it in my phone right then and there. And you guys, you just haven't seen the book yet, but you will. These are books that are coming. Come think about that. That's two books I'm telling you that have been written and that are and they'll be coming out. They'll be coming out. Adding to the children's books. And I think, and children, for some reason, I can see pigs in the airport because I can actually visualize that for some reason. I don't know why, but I can. So, and I say that to say, what is happening around you, all around you, that can be a story. Your life is one, as I showed you, because that's the one I really showed you. This is Dr. Henry's life. That's what this is her life. She lived this. This is not something she made up or like I did with the baby screaming on the plane. This not she I made that story up because in some ways I think because I felt so sorry for all of them. That was why I wrote that one. But I say that because now it could be your life you want to tell, or it can be, as I said, baby crying on a plane. You know, that maybe that's what the story is about. But whatever it is, if you don't take the time to write it down, nobody else will. I'd be very curious to find out how many people on that plane wrote anything down about that baby crying. I mean, I'll never know. It was, like I said, it was over 100 of us. But I know I did. I wrote that story. I sure did. I did. And I said, and you will see the baby, crying and the parents walking up and down the aisle with the baby trying to quiet her. But there was no quieting her because the stewardess already said the pressure is what that's what's unbearable to her. So there was nothing we could do. But what is happening around you? What is happening around you that would make such a good story? Or what has happened to you? Most of the children's books, let me think. Mine, Justin Lost a Tooth, that's a made up story. No, that didn't happen. I'm trying to think of any. And let me tell you, let me go through this one. I will tell you this. Have you seen a red elephant? This book came because I said these words. I just said it. Have you seen a red elephant? I said the words. Think about this. Have you seen a red elephant? Then I thought about that. I said, no, I've never seen a red elephant. This is like in a day. I just said, I've never seen a red elephant. And then I thought, wow, that's the title to a book. Think about it. It came so innocently. All I said was, have you seen? All I said was the words. Out of those words, there is an entire book now that you can purchase on Amazon called Have You Seen a Red Elephant? Out of a conversation. And I just said it. And this book is dedicated to my husband, Oliver. This is his dedicated book. And have you seen a red elephant take a bath? This one really, in my opinion, is the one that's most like Dr. Seuss to me. Because then next, have you seen a red elephant doing math? That's why it says more. It has the rhythm of Dr. Seuss. Now, all of the books don't sound like that, but some do. This one is, have you seen a red elephant reading a book? And it shows the elephant reading a book. And then next, have you seen a red elephant trying to cook? So it has I call it the Dr. Seuss rhythm, but it's actually just a rhythm. I call it Dr. Seuss rhythm because my children were small and we read a lot of Dr. Seuss and a lot of Berenstain Bears. We read those all the time, all those kind of books. And so, but I think the love for Dr. Seuss is why this one is so rhythmic. But to tell you the truth, I think almost all the books have a rhyme so far. I have been writing them they mostly rhyme. I will say that. Um, even which was a number one books on Amazon. I'm totally blessed because that's I tell anybody it's definitely God, and that was There's a Rocket in My Pocket. Hi, Dumas. Nice seeing you today. So There's a Rocket in My Pocket is still I mean, I, what can I say? When it went number one, I actually remember thinking, I can't believe this. I was just overwhelmed. I could not believe this. But it tells me too, the rhythm, the book, the title came to me. There's a Rocket in My Pocket. When it came to me, my one of my sons said, "Mom, don't write that book." He was like, don't write a book like that." And I said, "Son, any books that you hear are God given, and I'm going to write it." And I did. So, and I'm going to put that one in paperback. That one currently is not in paperback, but it will be. It'll be in a paperback book also. So Elaine says, the airplanes aren't allowed to give warm towel compresses in cups anymore. Oh, they sure didn't. They didn't give anything. Sometimes that would help Jenny's ears excruciating pain. Never thought about doing anything with it more attuned. I don't know what they could have done, Elaine, for that because all I kept thinking, it was obvious that the child was in pain, and there was nothing we could do. See, there's a helplessness. Nobody, the mother couldn't help that child, the father couldn't help that child. We're on the plane, none of us could do anything, and she was just in pain, and it was nothing. I mean, what could you do? That's really one of those. There's nothing we could do. And all I did was sit down there and I just took, like I said, wherever I go, one thing I will have is I'm going to have paper and a pen wherever I go. I mean, I don't necessarily need that because I can put it on my phone, but there's something about writing it down too that I really like. So I just wrote the book about a baby crying on the plane. That's it. So you haven't seen, of course, you haven't seen it yet. It has still, because even though I write the books, ladies and gentlemen, I still hire editors. I hire editors because, like it or not, I don't know about you. I think everything I write is perfect. Do you think that too? And I promise you it is. But that's that. We think everything we do is perfect. It is not. So I hire people to edit the work. And then many times I'll go over stuff with Oliver. I'll be just reading things or go over with our children. But at the same time, I've learned it's better to hire someone that's their profession, and they put the commas and exclamation and whatever needs to be done. So don't ever think that it is not a team that's working. Um, for Dr. Henry's book, editors, you have to have editors. This book is over 300 pages. You must have editors for your work. Don't ever submit something and you haven't had it edited. Always, I always let someone else look at your work. Always. And don't feel so that, oh, it's perfect just because you wrote it. No, don't get like that, because there can be little tweaks. Doesn't have to be big ones, but little things that people can make it better or sound better, or maybe you forgot to put a period or a comma or an exclamation. It's normally never anything big. That's what I noticed. It's always little tiny things. But those little tiny things make a difference in your story. So don't be afraid to let other people. In fact, I encourage you letting other people read. I really do. Let your family and friends. I know I wrote a movie script, and we had a table read, and it must have been about, I mean, how many was it? I think it was like 12 of us on a Zoom, and everyone had their parts, and it was, I probably should have recorded that now I think about it. I didn't think to record it, but it was just one afternoon on a Sunday afternoon, and everyone had a copy of the script, and we just went and they read it. And to hear the words that you've written, and to hear someone read it, it's amazing how you can catch errors like that also. Another thing I would encourage you to do when you write, read it out loud. Read it out loud to yourself. You can actually, there is, I think, I don't know if I'm not mistaken, if you go to, is it Google? I can't remember which one, and it'll read it to you. I think it's Google. I want to say Google Docs. And you put on, and it'll do a voice, and it will read what you've written to you. So you get to hear. You're listening. I'm listening for a couple of things when I read. I'm listening for a cadence. I'm listening for if they're reading and it's and the sentence is too long and I need to put a period in that sentence. But maybe I didn't see it when I wrote it, but I can hear it when I hear someone's, when they're reading it. All of those things matter. It's the little tiny things. So when you're writing, I always, how I am. I'll show you guys what I used to write with. I always tell you this because it's the truth. I must have about 30 of these. Just a regular little notebook. I have notes in this one. You guys will be like, if I show you this, I'm not kidding. I have notes all in it. I'll let you see someone. Even I use the back of the inside of the notebook to put notes on. I'm always writing notes. That's just who I am now. Now I think that's just how I live. But if you have thought about it, let me stress this more than anything else. Let me just tell you, the one thing I would encourage you to do is start. Many of us don't write because we don't want to start. Or you think it's so way, way up here, and when will I ever get done and all that. And so you never start. It is not like that. What did I tell you on the plane? I was writing on the plane. I finished a book on the plane. Just coming back, it took us a few hours. It wasn't like it was overnight. I mean, no, it wasn't. It was hours. It wasn't like 10 minutes or anything like that. But I sat down, and while the baby was crying, I started writing. But even if I didn't finish, this is what I've learned too. You don't have to finish. You don't have to finish. I cannot tell you how many stories I have started and didn't finish. Or I have to come back to them and finish them. The one, many of you, the book is not near me. I think it's in Oliver's office. He may bring it over here, but the book is Stuck in the Elevator. That book was written because we had been stuck in the elevator. As many of you, as I've told this story, it's a true one. We were in Brazil and we got stuck in the elevator with 9 other people. True story. It was 9 of us total. I'm sorry, 9 total. But when you're 9 people in an elevator, you're on top of each other, literally. You're breathing the same air. There's nothing. That's it. The elevator got stuck between the 2 floors. We were stuck. That's it. And you are in that elevator and that door doesn't open, or what it did, it opened just a little tiny bit. It opened up and came back down. Well, thank you, Oliver. So, see, you brought it in for me. Thank you. So this is the one, Stuck in the Elevator. True, and it says it based on a true story right at the bottom, because this is a true story. This was written. We got out of the elevator, we got back in our hotel, and I sat down and wrote this book in 45 minutes. If it was that long, because I told Oliver, I said, Oliver, that's a children's book. He said, what's a children's book? I said, because he was still upset about being stuck in the elevator. I said, we were stuck in the elevator. That's a children's book. And I wrote the book. And I'll show you some of the pictures in it. I say that because it's really colorful, and so you can kind of get an idea. Okay, so on a true, something that really happened, based on a true story, when my husband and I were stuck in the elevator while we were traveling, which is true. During the experience, no one panicked on the outside, but you could feel the sense of panic on the inside. Remember it. Okay, remaining calm was the best thing everyone did. We made it out just fine. And I always tell people we did get out. So I'm saying that to say that was based on something that really did happen. And what did I do? I made it into a book. What is going on around you that you, or maybe just your story. I hear this all the time. Oh, I can't write I've heard this. I can write my story, but I can't use the names of the people in there. Oh, then don't. I tell people, then write it and make up new names. Who knows who you're talking about? I wouldn't know. So just make up different names for those people. You don't want to write something that's defamatory or derogatory. You know, when I say defamatory, meaning you don't want to write something negative. I would never want people to write something negative about someone. And then and these things have happened, by the way, they sue for defamation, saying that you affected that character of that person, that kind of thing. That has happened. So that's why you would change the name of the person. If that's the case, if you feel that way, this is what I would err on the change the name. That's what I would do. If you really felt strongly enough about that and you want to write the story, how many movies are based on true stories and they put at the bottom the names have been changed? And this is what I always say: the names have been changed to protect the guilty. They always say to protect the innocent, but I always say to protect the guilty. But I would tell you, that's why you have they have attorneys, all those kind of things. But I wouldn't use anyone's name of somebody you know, or a family name where the family may say, oh, you wrote something derogatory about my uncle or my aunt, and I'm going to sue you for that, even though they may be deceased. I don't know. All I'm saying is change the name. That'll end that whole, scenario. It's just change the name. But what stories do you already have that are in you that you can write? Oh, you said, that's what I said. She said, oh, she laughed out loud. I say the same thing, change the name to protect the guilty. Isn't that something? That's what I say. They always say to protect the innocent. That I always say protect the guilty. But I would say this, don't not write it because you don't want to change the name. Just change the name. If that person's name is not there, they cannot say anything. And let me clear that up right now. Let me say this. I am not an attorney. I am not an attorney. Say it again. I am not an attorney. Anytime you have a legal question, seek the advice of an attorney. I rest my case on that. And I say that to you because you can go to your local, I'm going to speak for California. There's 58 bar associations. I live in Riverside County. So in Riverside County, there's a bar association. You can go to the bar association and say you would like to speak to an attorney. You need the legal advice. I forget. It's called the lawyer referral service. Let me just give you guys, this is a quick commercial for if you need an attorney. And this is for any aspect of the law, by the way. Riverside, I'm going to speak for Riverside County. You go to the local bar association, you ask for a lawyer referral service. The lawyer referral service, what they will do, they will refer you to a lawyer for your area, for their specific law that you need. It used to be $60. It's probably $75 now for 1 hour. 1 hour to speak with a board certified, bar certified attorney. What I do, and I've used them, I write all my questions down. I'm saying this is like a quick commercial. It's the truth. I write all my questions down before I ever go in there with them. Because when you're in front of an attorney, you can kind of, everything turns into a blur kind of. But when you have your questions down in front of you, now you can stay focused. These are the things I need answers to. And then it used to be, as I said before, it was $60. I don't know what it is now, but for $60 to go speak with an attorney about this in your area, it was well worth it. It was more than worth it to get those questions answered. So I would highly recommend that you do that. That you, whatever your question, whatever the law is that you're seeking help on, I've done it, and it's worked. I cannot even begin to tell you what it's done for whatever it was I needed. I was able to get those questions answered. So that's just something I would highly recommend. So I'm going to say this again because I want someone, if you need this, it's there for you. There are 58 bar associations in the state of California. This is 58 counties. Just so you know, it's 58 counties, 58 bar associations. All of the bar associations have what's called Lawyer Referral Service. Lawyer Referral Service, LRS. You can call them and say, I'd like to make an appointment. I'd like to speak with an attorney for 1 hour. 1 hour. And they will help you. They'll refer you to that attorney. You make an appointment. Before you go to the appointment, write your questions down. You do have to have your payment when you come in to that appointment. They don't pay at the back end. They pay it when you arrive, which is only fair because some people may say, I don't know what they're going to say. But the point is, when you walk in, you pay the secretary and you sit down for 1 hour. Have your questions that you have for him or her. That's it. And get your questions answered. You may decide to use them later on. You may not. But at least you have your questions answered by somebody who knows the law. So I will say that. So that's what I would say. And I attended law school for 1 year. Thank God I did 1 year. I would now I leave law to the lawyers. I don't even I've learned it. I know it is daunting what they learn. I'm impressed with what they learn because I know how hard it was to do it. I know it's hard for me, so I can only tell you. If you need someone that's an attorney for 1 hour, that's it. And I didn't get paid to say that. They don't even know I'm saying it. So, but I will highly recommend that to anybody. So if you need that. Now, back to writing the books. If you have an idea, as I say this 1,001 times, don't try and write the book in one sitting. The only reason I was able to write this in one sitting was because it happened right then and there. I just got out of the elevator. I literally, that's why it came to me that it was a book. That's not normal. And then the other one, to write what I did, I was on the plane and the baby was crying. I have learned now that when situations happen in my life, if there's a way that it can be a book, make it into a book, especially children's books. But you may say, well, I don't have a children's book. This really did happen to me in my life and that kind of thing. And that's perfectly normal. Don't try and sit down to write the book all at once. People ask me on this book, where did I get the titles from? Where did I get the chapters from? What I did is I sat down and wrote, what do I want people to know about saying no nicely? That's what I wrote. Okay, good. Darlo said, I'm still interested. My book and my youngest daughter is doing a children's book. Wow. My youngest author is 9, Darlo. 9 is the youngest author I've ever worked with. So I just let me know and I can definitely work with you. We can get it done. So I would say what I did was I said, I'm going to use now, let me just say this. This is my way of writing. It doesn't have to be your way. And this is what I tell any of you. I don't think there is a wrong way. I really don't. I think it's all what you want. What I did, I wrote an outline. I said, I want to know how do people say no to family and friends. This is how it started. I wrote this down first. I had not written the book. I think they want to know how to say no to their family and friends. How do we say no to their significant other, their co-workers, their boss? And at first, I'm going to show you on this, let me tell you how I initially started. This is how big the book was. I had family, one chapter, friends, another chapter. That's how I started at first. Then I had boss, one chapter, co-workers, another chapter. Then I said, and then these were all separate. But so I really had 6 more. I had 3 more chapters that I combined. I put family and friends into one because many of our friends are family. Then I was saying a significant other. Because at first I had husband and wife, and I said, no, you can't say that because it's not husband and wife. So I made it into significant other. I changed the entire the title. And then I put social functions. Then it was how to say no nicely to yourself. Do we ever say no nicely to yourself? The answer, you got to learn how to do. I know you don't think you do, but you do. The art of manipulation. Talk about that. Many times, we say yes. And then we say yes to something because we want that person to say yes to us. And that's manipulation. That's not saying yes. We're just saying yes to get something back. What I learned from that is better to say no because you're playing games when you're doing these kind of things. But I've done it. I wrote the book. I'm telling you, I've done it. We've all done it. The point is, if we can just be honest, don't think I think these things are easy because I don't. But I can tell you for a fact they all are true and I've lived this. So then I talk about separating refusal from rejection. Refusal from rejection. Because many times, if somebody says no to us, don't we feel like they rejected us? You guys don't feel that? Maybe it's just me. And then it's a conclusion. And then I talk about about the author and how this book almost did not get published. Can you believe this? This book came when Kobe Bryant's helicopter, unfortunately, when that helicopter went down. I had written the book. I had not published it because my other book had done so well, and I didn't want to publish this book, and it didn't do well. So I did. I said, oh, maybe I'll publish it some other time. Once his helicopter went down in that unfortunate accident, the reality of life that every person on the helicopter had every indication they would still be here, and that when that day happened, it made me look at me and look at life differently. And it was published within a month. The book was done. It was already edited. Everything was done. I just hadn't published it. And within 30 days, it was published. The book went to #1 on Amazon. This little book. And I don't say that because I'm bragging. I'm saying that because think about it. You have to get out of your own way, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm guilty of that, of being in my own way, of not doing things because, maybe somebody's not going to like it. Maybe this, that, and the other. And my granddaughter actually said this to me one day. I asked her about publishing one of her books. And she said, no, Nana, because somebody's going to say something bad about it. And I said, Nasir, people say bad things about my books. And her name was Nasir. I said, she's like, are you serious? I said, yeah. I said, but guess what? I asked them, let me read your book. Let me read your book. I haven't read one yet. It's easy to criticize. And I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, when you write your book, you may be criticized. I don't want you to think that you, and so what if you are? So what if you are? I get criticized. I do. And I look back and I think, what time, this is what I really think. You must really got time on your hands to find the energy to criticize me. That's all I be thinking. And I just think, well, evidently they took the time that they felt they had the need to say something. It is not a bad thing. We have this thing about, oh my goodness, somebody criticized. They say something wrong. So what? So what if they did? As they say, it's a free country. That's what I would tell anybody. It's a free country. This is what, as any of it's like we say, what does it say on Nike? Just do it. What I'm gonna say is just do you. Do you. That's the only person you can really do. Do you. Like Darlo said, he's writing and his daughter's writing a children's book. If it comes to mine, I'm writing it down. You can believe that. I am going to write it down. I'm not guaranteed. Now, everything I write does not end up being a book. I'll be honest. But at least now it's down. It's on paper. I can edit. I can change. I can do those things. A gentleman told me, I spoke at a middle school. This is a few years ago. And he said, after I finished speaking, I could tell it was a competition. And you get that, as being a woman, I totally got where he was coming from. And so I finished speaking. It was only me and him in the classroom. And he goes, I just want you to know, I have hundreds of books running around in my head. I said, do you really? It's like, he goes, yes. And I got this and I got that. And I said, sir, how many have you written down? I haven't written any books down. I said, then guess how many books you have? And he said, how many? I said, you don't have any. He looked at me like he saw a ghost. And I said, I am saying this to you to help you write your stories down. You can have 1,000 of them, but if they're not written down, who can edit what's in your head? Nobody can. He got quiet. And I said, I'll tell you what, here's my name, here's my number. When you're ready to really write these books down, I have classes. I teach this because I hire, for those of you that don't know, I hire coaches. I hire people. I came into this arena of writing books. I now have been blessed. I've written movie scripts. Every single step, I have hired a coach. I am not the person to sit back and oh yeah, I can figure this out. Nope. I don't even want to figure it out. I'm at the age in life, I don't have time to figure it out. Tell me what I need to know. I don't have to, I'm on the other side of 50 and 62. I don't have time for that. What do I need to know? How do I put together a script? How do I do all these things? I never even knew, but I hired a coach. And now I'm writing movie scripts. Never in my wildest dreams, and I mean wildest, that no one could ever tell me I'd be writing movies, ever. But what did I do? I started where I was, and I started writing. I started with writing children's books. But that's where the Lord had led me to begin. I started there. Now I've written songs. I've written children's books. I'm writing movie scripts. I'm even I'm in. I be honest with you. I think I'm in awe because I cannot believe that it all started because I wrote something down. That was over 5 years ago, and that has led to one thing is building upon another thing is building upon another thing, and it just keeps going and going and going. I never would have thought this all those years ago. I still have other books. The one Save Your Home from Probate. Many of you know about that book. If you're the only one on title, I have said it's one sheet. Get the book, Save Your Home from Probate. One paper, you get it notarized. You attach it to your deed. Now, when you pass away, the home goes straight to that person. You don't, no probate, no go to court, no involving lawyers, none of that. It is truly a gift. I would tell you. Oh, do you, Sheila? Sheila says she has a children's book in mind. Excellent. What am I going to say, Sheila? Write it down. And I tell, because when I tell you, I get so excited when people tell me that they wrote it down. It's like I'm a kid in a candy store. Because now we have something to work with. Now, if you want to know the truth about it, that book becomes, it's a living, breathing. What did I say about the baby crying on the plane? I could actually write the book. The book is written. It needs to be edited. Let me just say that. But I wrote the book. I wrote the book. If you're writing a children's book, you need 24 pages to get it published. 24 minimum. This is what I really encourage you to do. If you notice how my books are, and I have them down to 3 minutes, so I'm going to go kind of quick on this. I have the words on one side and the picture on the opposite side. That's how I get my 24 pages in. I put the words on this side and the pictures on that side. You need 24. So you'll need 12, a minimum of 12 illustrations, and then enough. And your story has to have the 3 elements of every single story. What are they? A beginning, a middle, and an end. If you have those 3 elements, and it has to be a story. Don't just write in gobbledygook. It has to be a story. When I said stuck in the elevator, it is a story. And we talk about how we get out and how the fireman puts tape on the door. All that's in the story. So it is a true story. If it's not a story, if it doesn't tell a story, then it's not going to be good. And you're not going to keep a child's attention. It's got to be a story there. Don't just write anything, throw anything up there. Because I've seen some throw anything things, and it's like, wow. To me, that doesn't do justice to education. And Sheila, you said, yes, ma'am. I've written it down. Good. I have a love story that I've written down. Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm going to give you a hand, Sheila. Because that does my heart good to hear you say you wrote it down. So I'm glad to hear that. So ladies, gentlemen, I am happy to say you are, well, I mean, there are books inside of all of us. I always say this, and it's true. The books I've written, like my girlfriend teased me. She said, you haven't even written the book that you will write. These are all to get you ready for that book. And I think sometimes she's probably right, because I have other ideas too that come to me. Some of my ideas come in the middle of the night, but we're at 59 minutes and 34 seconds. So I don't want to go over, and we can go over real easily, by the way. But I just want you to know I love each and every one of you. Thank you for coming to the show today. We'll be back on Monday, a week from today. And I enjoy these shows when I know sometimes I don't have guests, but sometimes, and I love having my guests too. But when I get to just talk to you and get your feedback, that means a lot too. It really does. So I will see you guys a week from today. God bless each and every one of you. Bye, everybody.